Warning. This podcast may contain spoilers from whatever TV show or movie is mentioned. Please listen at your own discretion. Welcome to Viewers Anonymous.
Yo, what's going on? I am Scoots Brunson.
And I am S. Foster.
And this is the Viewers Anonymous podcast. What's going on with you, my guy?
Man, just trying to make it out here in these streets, man. You know what I'm saying? Still working on stuff in the background.
Yeah.
Just trying to get everything together, cross all the T's, dot all the I's. But I'm making it out here, man. How about yourself? How you feeling?
Man, it's another day for me, bro. Ain't nothing too much. You know, I don't live no exciting life, man. Don't nothing really happen around my way. I stay out the way, bro. So, you know what I'm saying? I just be at home plotting and planning and cooling.
Hey, I'm the same way, man. I don't do shit. I don't really like going nowhere, man.
Yeah.
Like I spoke about the last episode, you know, we took that week off and I was like, yo, I was just getting in a lot of content, a lot of stuff that I've been missing. A lot of things that I've been pushing off. I finally finished a lot of stuff, you know, some shows that I started. You know, I watched the season finales of a lot of the shit that I've been watching. Oh, man, the season finale of Euphoria. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I heard about that.
That shit was fire, boy. Like,
yeah, I started Mary Kingstown.
Mary Kingstown? What's that?
Paramount.
Oh, yes. I got Paramount Plus.
What's dude's name, man? Play Hawkeye. He in it.
Jeremy Renner?
Yeah, in it. Yeah, it's pretty good. The first episode was pretty good. I guess him and his brother, him and his family all live in like this small town in like Pennsylvania. I think it's Pennsylvania. I don't know. Don't quote me, but I think it's Pennsylvania. But basically, you know what I'm saying, like the town that they live in is one of those like jail towns. So it's like a jail like every, you know what I'm saying, like 2 miles. So you know what I'm saying, like his brother worked for the prison. I think, you know what I'm saying, like they mom worked for the prison, but like him and the brother, they got like this little thing where, you know what I'm saying, like they pretty much run the town because they, you know, like run the politics of the prison. So it's pretty interesting. Very interesting.
That's what's up. So yeah, man. But you know, to piggyback off that, man, I don't do none of that site, man. Trying to become a movie critic out here in the world, man.
Facts.
You know, so when they start doing some documentary type shit, you know what I'm saying, that they hit up the Viewers Anonymous crew. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I always wanted to be that, man. Like, you know, when you be watching shit and it be like the people, like when they be interviewing people about the subject or whatever. Yeah. I always wanted to be one of them motherfuckers.
You want to be one of the people in the interviews?
Yeah. Like I always wanted to do that, man. And it's just like, man, yo, that's one thing I'm striving for, man. I feel like
I can see that.
Yeah, all this content up in the brain they were putting out. Yeah, I'm ready.
They gotta get you on like a Jason doc or like a Halloween doc. Or, you know what I'm saying, like one of the murder mystery joints. That'd be fire.
I am ready for it.
For sure, bro. So, man, listen, this is a very special episode because this movie is basically the movie that kind of jump started the MCU. Not necessarily, it wasn't a direct jump start, but it was more indirect.
No, it was. It was. Well, so check this out.
Go ahead.
So I was just reading this, right? Mm-hmm. So it was saying, you know, throughout the 80s and the 90s, right? Mm-hmm. DC, a lot of their movies been flopping and shit. And when it come to Marvel was about to declare for bankruptcy in 1996. Mm-hmm. Okay? Blade came out in 98. Mm-hmm. The budget for Blade was $45 million.
Yeah.
They earned $131 million off of the first Blade movie. Yeah. And the combined earnings of all three films, uh 415 million.
Damn.
So this did jumpstart the motherfucking MCU because if
Well,
they
the
didn't get
reason
Blade 2 years later.
no, for sure. The reason I say indirectly is because this isn't necessarily a part of the MCU, right? This ain't like the start of it or anything like that. The start of the MCU is, I think it's either Iron Man or the Hulk movie. I want to say it's the Hulk though. Don't quote me, but it's one of those two movies. But this movie basically showed people that comic book movies or movie adaptations could basically be profitable. So, Blade is the movie that we're talking about, starring Wesley Snipes, Stephen Dorff, Kris Kristofferson. Um, this was first and foremost, this was one of those things to where, like I said, if you didn't if you didn't read comics, you wouldn't know who Blade was. And then on top of that, if you didn't watch like the Saturday morning cartoons with, you know what I'm saying, like X-Men, Spider-Man, all that, you wouldn't know who Blade was either. So Blade had a small appearance in the Amazing Spider-Man cartoon. It was him. I think like Morbius was in there, and shout out to Jared Leto. I hate saying that out loud, but shout out to Jared Leto because he's doing the live action Morbius movie coming soon. But yeah, like Blade had an appearance here and there. I think he even had like an appearance on X-Men too. But basically, you know what I'm saying? Like that's where, you know what I'm saying, like the young kids would know him from, or the people around our age would know him from. And then of course, if you read the comic books, I'm sure he popped up here and there. And I know he had his own series and comics. But they did a great job casting this movie as well. I think that's why it did as well as it did too, because they found the perfect person to play Blade. And later on, I wanted to ask you about how do you feel about the new casting of Mahershala Ali? Because we've already seen him in MCU as Cottonmouth. His character ended up getting killed off. So now they're bringing him back, and he's basically going to be the new Blade. So we'll talk about that later. But for right now, man, 1998, Blade comes out. Can you remember how you felt or like where your mindset was when this came out?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't recall, but I do remember coming across Blade and noticing like, yo, like this is pretty dope. And knowing Wesley from the films that I know him from, you know, as far as New Jack City, White Man Can't Jump, Passenger 57, you know, Demolition Man, you know, shit like that. Seeing him in those films early, I already had a good, you know, introduction to Wesley Snipes because I've seen all those movies, I liked all those movies, and to see him be Blade, and I didn't even know. Listen, I didn't know. I'm one of those people who was naive. Like I didn't know that Blade was a part of Marvel. Like I didn't find that out till I don't know 8 years ago or some shit like that. So I was one of those people, and the character was dope. The movie was dope, and it just became one of those cult classics. And Wesley didn't get enough credit for being the type of actor that he is. Like I mentioned this in the coming soon. Like I think that when you watch a Passenger 57 or a Demolition Man, and like the stance that he took with Demolition Man, like because if I recall this correctly, they wanted a white guy to play Simon Phoenix.
Yeah.
And something happened. I can't remember exactly what happened. Wesley name came up somehow. Hell, it might have been Sylvester Stallone. I can't remember, but I remember him saying like, "Yo, all right, well, how about this? I rock blonde hair," and they like, you know, like whatever or whatnot. So he did the blonde hair because I think it was something about they was originally wanting to cast a white guy or some shit like that. But like, just to see like what he did like in those movies, it made me want more of the martial arts of Wesley Snipes.
Also, Wesley Snipes as Simon Phoenix is probably one of the most underrated bad guys of all time in movie history.
Simon Phoenix was that guy.
Yeah, he did a great job in that role, bro.
He really did, man. But like you're right, man. I think when it came down with the casting, man, they did it perfectly by getting somebody like Wesley Snipes, who was already an athletic dude, but like I was watching this movie pretty closely, and I think I didn't do no research on it or anything like that, but I think he probably did most of the stunts because he was athletic enough.
Well, he's also like a real martial artist.
Yeah, like real deal. Like this ain't no fake shit. He was like Michael Jai White before him. Like because he older than he is. So like so. I mean, my first impressions of I always liked it, and then the whole fact of like doing it with vampires and shit. Because I mean, really up until this time, like the only vampire movie that I was even fun to when it comes to 1998 was really about Vampires in Brooklyn. I mean, they had to come out around. I think they came out around the same time, so I wasn't really into like I didn't watch Interview with a Vampire with motherfucking Tom Cruise and shit. Like, I didn't watch shit like that. But like, I thought it was but like Vampire. I think the depiction of how they did it, I think it was kind of dope because they was doing things like they was making fun of the idea of vampires. Like, oh well, cause what's my girl name? When she was talking about so what are we doing? Karen, she was like, what are we doing? We got steaks and garlic. Like she was like making fun of it because like she didn't know how real the shit was.
Right.
And like I thought that was dope for them to throw that in there, and then also throw the folk legends of vampires. You know, the way they put it in here was they said that they age slower. Like in some other movies in the past, they might say stuff like they stop aging at the age that they become a vampire.
Well, yeah, technically, like vampires are supposed to be dead. That's why they feast on blood.
Yeah, and they don't age. And like in this, like when they was explaining Blade, when he was when Whistler was explaining Blade to Karen, he was like, he got all the pros of the vampires, but he also got the cons of being a human, like because he was a half breed, and like he was saying that he still ages like a regular human would, but he got all of the strength, the being able to be strong and not strong, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like he has all the good qualities, but he also took the quality of he still has a thirst for blood, but he does this whole other thing of trying to use a serum so he don't feast on blood. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I think. Do you think Blade? Because my thing is, okay, right? If he's using a serum and he's not injecting any blood and they don't eat food, it's like, yo, how did this motherfucker get so buff? Like
he's a vampire, bro.
I mean, I get that, but okay, hold on. Let me jump on Blade for a second. I've been pondering this shit all day, and I've been wanting to ask you this. So, Deacon Frost got this whole plan of like. Now, this is my question to you: do you think his plan was to wipe out all the humans, or just get to a point where vampires are running shit? What do you think Deacon Frost plan?
I think it's the point where vampires is running stuff, because it seemed like they pretty much had like a nice little hold on the nightlife, right?
Yeah.
But throughout the day, it ain't nothing they can do because technically You know what I'm saying? They'll turn into ash. They'll burn up in the sunlight. But him getting the power from the 12 elders, I think that was going to give him like the same, make him be at the same level of Blade. Because like, if you notice, I think like in one part, I want to say like toward the end, like when he was getting the powers or whatever, the sunlight hit him or whatever, and he didn't burn.
Well, he had sunblock on.
Oh, that's right. Okay, well, never mind then. Now, see that I forgot all about that.
And it's like my thing is like, okay, you get. I felt like the way they did that scene, I don't think it made sense, and I'll tell you why. Because like when he had the little Asian girl, and he was standing, and Blade thought it was funny, and I like all the little sarcastic shit that Wesley was doing, but like Blade thought it was funny, like sunblock, you know. But it's like it'd be different if he had like a hoodie on, he had a hood over his head,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like he had either gloves on or. You know, it was just like he was out there like it was regular, like the back of his head. But when you put sunblock in the back of your head, like it's just like, come on, it can't just be sunblock because I felt like everybody would have thought of that shit years ago. Like, all I gotta do is put on sunblock.
Along with the powers of the elder vampires, like I think that's what I'm saying. That's why I said I think that helped him out a lot because, like, if you remember when they had the actual fight, he was a lot stronger. You know what I'm saying? Like. He was a lot faster. He was a lot quicker. You know what I'm saying? He was able to keep up with Blade as far as like fighting goes because he wasn't really a fighter until that happened.
Yeah.
So like, I think that gave him a pretty good advantage. What I thought was interesting though about this movie was just piggybacking off what you said about the vampire lore, like just the fact that you have a half human, half vampire, right? And his whole goal is to basically save humans from vampires. Like his whole thing, like that was his mission, was to stop vampires from taking over. And working with Whistler and doing the things that they was doing, like he was badass, bro. You know what I'm saying? He had the sword. My man had the pistols. You know what I'm saying? Like they had all the little advanced tech. Like Whistler was coming up with all kind of new stuff. I thought that was pretty dope. What I really thought was cool was the sword fight, the sword play in the movie. You know what I'm saying? Him not necessarily having to worry about you know what I'm saying? Like he didn't do a lot of gun stuff. Like he used the guns, of course, but it wasn't a lot of gun stuff. Like a lot of the stuff he was doing was, you know what I'm saying? He had the pure silver blade, so he was going through and, you know what I'm saying, cutting them up with the sword, which I thought was dope because it stayed true to, you know what I'm saying, the comic book. Like a lot of times in the comic book, that's how he defeats the vampires is with the sword. Like he shoots them, you know what I'm saying, with the guns, with the silver bullets and everything, but a lot of the stuff was with the, you know what I'm saying, the sword play. So I thought that was dope that they tried to stay as true to the comic as possible. But having Steven Dorff play Frost was a great option too. Because you needed, like, he played that great role for hating the villain. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like it wasn't one of those villains to where you was like, oh yeah, Blade gonna demolish him. You really wasn't even worried about him, like, because really you didn't even see him fighting. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, when I watched it, at the end of it, him seeing him fight Blade was surprising to me because it was like I never thought this dude was gonna be the one to fight. I thought he was gonna be the one to kind of like, you know what I'm saying, find a way for something to create something, and then him Blade fight it, and then he run off. Now Blade got to go catch him again. But like for him to find out how to get stronger and how to become a more potent vampire, and then to turn around and actually fight Blade and give him a run for his money, I thought that was brilliant to throw that in there.
Yeah, and what I liked about Deacon Frost's character is how much he studied. Mm-hmm. Like he didn't just sit around. And then he also didn't accept the fact of everything of what the elders was talking about. Like
Exactly.
the elders, they're stuck in their ways, and you usually see that even when it comes to a movie like Underworld.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's my man name? Like Victor, he's all about the book. Like we
Yeah.
don't stray away from the book, but Celine is like, nah, like we need to fuck that shit. Like there's things we need to do. And Frost was the same way. He was like, "Yo, I'm not going off that old model that y'all been going off for thousands of years. Like
Yeah.
we're not progressing. Like we're staying in the same spot." And Frost would study stuff from the elders, but he also studied Blade because he knew at some point the only way that I can rule all of this shit is I
As if
have
I
to be a
yep.
daywalker like Blade. Like that's the
Mm-hmm.
only way. Like you said, they ran the nightlife, but what's gonna happen throughout the day? Like the humans are gonna figure out a way to like to fuck y'all up. So the
Mm-hmm.
only way to do it is to become a daywalker. So I thought that was great to put that in there to make it seem like Frost just wasn't like he just wasn't a power hungry dude. Like he actually studied to get to the point where he was,
Yeah.
and he knew what he wanted. So I thought it was great to put that in there. So, what do you think about the Karen factor of her reminding him of his mom in a way to where he picked her up and wanted to save her?
Well, um, that's actually interesting because like once you end up finding out exactly how he came to be through his mom, you kind of get it. And then like once you see toward the end like his mom and them trying to use his mom against him, like you kind of understood why he had, you know what I'm saying, like that feeling towards Karen. So like, and then really like it was kind of messed up too because in a way he kind of put her in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying, with burning up the vampire in the first place. And then, you know what I'm saying, she trying to figure out what's going on. And then dude get up, you know what I'm saying, he kind of attack her. And then now, you know what I'm saying, here come Blade to save him. To save her. You know what I'm saying? So it was pretty much like he was cleaning up his own mess in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I think it was I think that aspect of it though is really dope because um you get to see like some feelings coming out of this character who seems so isolated and sheltered. You know what I'm saying? Like, or not sheltered, but like shut in. Like he got a lot. You can tell he got a lot of defenses up, and he don't really show too much emotion. He don't really show like he really care about anything. It's like he just straight to the point type of character. So then, like when you see the way he is around her, you kind of get that sense of empathy. You know what I'm saying? Like you kind of get the sense of him caring about his mom and the way he feel about his mom. You kind of get that, you know what I'm saying, with the interaction with her. And I think that was an interesting twist that they put on his character because usually he's like a straightforward, like he's like a Batman type, if that makes any sense.
A broke Batman.
Yeah, very broke Batman.
Yo, listen, man, this month was stealing watches and shit, and that's how they funded the business.
Hey man, you got to do
Hey,
what you got to do.
and I think that's also another dope thing. And we see they brought that up in the MCU. You know, they did it with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They
Mm-hmm.
did it with who else they did it with? They did it with Hawkeye. It was
Mm-hmm.
like, yo, like I ain't got no money. Like I ain't got no W-2s. Like I'm broke. The only person that had money was Iron Man.
Iron
Like he
Man.
was the only one who had money. So um I thought
Well,
that
and the
that was
Hulk
dope.
did too.
Yeah, yeah, because he was a scientist as well.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think the Karen thing, like he did, because he knew that the police was there, and he could have killed Quinn, but he didn't. So he
Mm-hmm.
did kind of put her in that situation, and then he got the whole vibe from his mom, and which was funny was when he was trying to save her, and the police came in and started shooting at him. Emma turned around and said, "Are you motherfuckers crazy?" Hey, yo, that shit was fucking hilarious,
They
man.
ain't know who they was messing with.
Nah, they had no idea who they was messing with. So yeah, I think maybe he was trying to clean up his mess, but I think he also knew like I could use her. Like he used her as bait when the one cop came over to do a well visit. just walks in to do a well visit, and so he used her as bait in that situation. And then he also ended up using her. But Whistler, he thought it was a dumb idea in the beginning, but then once he figured out her background, he was like, "Oh shit, well maybe we could use her." She ended up coming up with that serum shit that blew the vampires up. Which if she didn't come up with that, Blade wouldn't have defeated Deacon Frost. Yeah. Because Deacon Frost got to the point where, like, when they showed that whole scene when they cut his hand off and then he cut his torso up and his torso came up and then it closed back down.
Everything came back together, yeah.
Yeah, so like his hand back. Exactly. So if she didn't come up with that serum, like Blade would have been out of luck. So she ended up becoming very, very useful. But yeah, I think the whole thing of using his mom towards the end, I think for this movie to be the first of its kind, really, because at this time, you got like a lot of Batman movies and shit coming out.
Oh man,
but like
you got cheesy Batman movies. Yo, let me tell you something. Batman was cool with Michael Keaton when Clooney and Val Kilmer became Batman. It went down the drain, bro. It went down the drain, bro. It was so horrible.
Arnold Schwarzenegger with Iceman, yo.
Oh my god, that was so horrible.
That was terrible.
And then Jim Carrey
was a Riddler.
It was just so cool. Like he gave the Riddler like this corny, super corny persona, bro. And it's like ever since then, every new like reincarnation of the Riddler is like the Jim Carrey version of the Riddler.
Dude, Tommy Lee Jones was Two-Face, yo.
That was actually pretty alright though.
I mean, I love Tommy Lee Jones. I think he's a hidden gem. Like Tommy Lee Jones,
he was
an old legend out here.
Yeah,
but it was but he was in that era though. Like he wasn't with the Michael Keaton era.
Nah, I know that.
Yeah, he was with like the Kilmer, I believe. So like, or was it Clooney? I know. Wait, Keaton.
Clooney, because I think that was Batman and Robin. Because I think that's when it was Two-Face and the Riddler in one of them. Then the other one was Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy. And then it was Bane was in one of them.
That I don't remember. Like I really only fuck with the Keaton ones.
Yeah, me too. Like my favorite one is Batman Returns with Danny DeVito as the Penguin.
Yeah.
And
Michelle Pfeiffer was
Catwoman.
Catwoman.
That was a good one. And then the original Batman with him and Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
That was the joint too.
Yeah, that was a joint. So it's like at this time, like we really had nothing like this, like except really like the Batman movies was really the only thing because Spider-Man wasn't even really
Superman
out yet.
Too.
Yeah, but all the Superman was trash. Look, I didn't like any of those
old Superman. Christopher Reeve Superman was dope. Was Zod? That was fire.
Nah, I ain't fuck with those.
How you tripping, bro?
Superman listen, Superman. I ain't even gonna front, yo. Like. Even when they came out with the Henry guy, I ain't even really watched though, like the Man of Steel and all that shit. Like I ain't gonna say I didn't watch them. Like I seen them because I'm a cinema guy, but like I watched it to watch it and then was like, fuck it.
Yo, Man of Steel is the one before Batman versus Superman, I think.
Yeah,
that was the best Superman movie I ever seen.
Yeah, because they had Batman in it.
No, not Batman vs. Superman. That shit was trash. I'm talking about Man of Steel.
Man of Steel.
Man of Steel is the best Superman movie ever. And I'll tell you why. Because they actually show you like the real life look of, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a dry story. But I'm talking about as far as the fight scenes went, they like when he was fighting Zod's lieutenant, the chick, and they was like going through Denny's and shit, and they was punching each other through buildings. Like the fact that you like they were showing them fighting and then they'll zoom out and like he'll punch her and then like she'll zoom into the next building and all you just see is like the building explode. To me, that was dope because like that's what a real Kryptonian fight would look like. You know what I'm saying? Like not the stuff that they show you where he punching them in the sky and he flying back. Like, come on, bro. That's cool and all, but like Superman destroys stuff. We know this. Like if Superman live in your town, insurance rates is going up. You know what I'm saying? Like it is what it is. So like for me, Man of Steel was the best one because it was like they did a great job depicting like what Kryptonians would look like in a real, you know what I'm saying, like Earth environment. But back to Blade, man, I think it's interesting to see them use Wesley Snipes because of how hot he was at the time, right? You mentioned Passenger 57, but you got to think about this. So you said, you know what I'm saying, Demolition Man. So that's like 1994, right? Yep. Then in 95, him and Woody Harrelson, they team back up with J-Lo. They do Money Train. And then in 1997, he did probably one of his best films with Murder at 1600. Then he comes back out with Tommy Lee Jones on U.S. Marshals in 98. He does Blade in 98. He does Play It to the Bone with Antonio and Banderas. He's, you know what I'm saying, he does a little of those he does a little cameo in that. And then in 2000, he does The Art of War. So like these movies are really showing like his skills in the action arena. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was very interesting, putting him in that, you know what I'm saying, like in that around that time. Because like for me, Blade kind of, well, I think Murder at 1600 really was the one. Because to me, like that was like a great movie at the time. Still a great movie to this day. But then when you put him in Blade, you know what I'm saying, with showcasing his skills and everything else, you actually get him at, you know what I'm saying, in Art of War, where this time he's not like a superhero, but he's this dude that's showcasing his actual fighting skills.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was super interesting seeing him in this time because Wesley Snipes was like one of the best action stars around that time.
He definitely was, man. And we can't skip over U.S. Marshals, even though he wasn't necessarily showcasing his martial art skills, but he was doing a lot of. It was a lot. That movie was action. It was an action movie, and you know, Tommy Lee Jones basically being the same character he was in The Fugitive. But yeah, like I mean, 98 was a year for him anyway. Yeah. Like U.S. Marshals, Down in the Delta, Blade, and Future Sport all came out in 98.
Yep.
So Wesley Snipes was working, like really working. And for him to come, like the thing about Wesley, like I feel like Blade was the one for some odd reason to, I mean, don't get me wrong, depending on what demographic you come from, Wesley was already on a pedestal for some of us because of whether, I mean, he was in Jungle Fever, but when you think about White Man Can't Jump and
I mean, Passenger 57, that
I mean,
that put him at like a mainstream actor.
And why can't I think New Jack City? I don't know why New Jack City wouldn't pop up in my head. But like New Jack City, so he was already on a demographic for some of us. But like you said, Passenger 57, like, yo, I mean, they use that in rap songs.
Well, I mean, to me, Passenger 57 is in that like Steven Seagal, Jean-Claude Van Damme lane. You know what I'm saying?
He stole that shit from him.
Oh, for sure. Like when, you know what I'm saying, like they be doing some stuff somewhere where they have no business doing. Like, think about this. Like, this dude is doing karate on a plane, bro.
Yo, you ain't gonna tell me this ain't. I guarantee you. Like, look, I ain't gonna say that because I don't know. I'm pretty sure the person who wrote this was thinking Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like,
Oh,
I'm giving this
100%.
movie to Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Listen, without a doubt in my mind, he was like, it's either going to be Jean-Claude Van Damme, Steven Seagal, and if we can get super lucky, Chuck Norris. One of them three was destined to be the main guy on Passenger 57, without a doubt in my mind. Like, that's like the stuff that the movies that they were in and the stuff that they was doing in the movie. Like, I remember it was one movie where Jean-Claude Van Damme was fighting in like a plutonium factory with no shirt on. I'm like, the radiation alone was gonna kill him. But somehow he whooped every factory worker in there without an issue, and every factory worker in there knew some sort of martial arts. But like, that's the type of stuff I'm talking about. Like Steven Seagal, I seen him fighting and like in the middle of a forest, like fighting dudes that was chopping down trees. Like that type of stuff, that's what I'm talking about, bro. Like they be in places where they should never be fighting people who they should never be fighting. And to me, this was one of the movies with Wesley Snipes being on a plane fighting terrorists. Like, fam, come on now. They'd have been shot, my dude. They'd have been shot him up.
But then how many black plane officers were there in fucking 1992?
Ain't no telling.
We didn't even know that was a job. Black people didn't even fly like that.
That's what I'm saying. So the fact that like this nigga is like the most superb U.S. Marshal on the fucking plane lets you know like this dude is like top notch quality. So for him being Blade, I think that he was able to do that same thing and stay in that same lane, but this time he had a lot more space to be creative and a lot more space to do things because now like this isn't like a real movie type deal. Like this ain't no, you know what I'm saying, like a U.S. Marshal saving the plane from terrorists. This is a half man, half vampire fighting vampires every night somewhere in the USA. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this is a fantasy type role. So he had a lot of room to play around with. And you could tell like him doing it, you could tell like it seemed like a lot of fun for him to make this movie because like first and foremost, this was like around the time to where I think like one of the most famous black superheroes at the time was like Meteor Man. You know what I'm saying?
That's the only one I could even think of.
Yeah, like you had Damon Wayans making fun doing Blank Man. You had Shaq trying in the DC lane doing Steel.
Damn. Oh yeah,
Steel. People forget about Steel. You know what I'm saying? So you had like Shaq do Steel, and then like after that, I'm trying to think who else.
Hey, Shaq Fu was that shit though.
Yeah, Shaq Fu was one of the best games ever. Shout out to the Fooshnickets. But yeah, I think like I can't even remember another one around that time.
I can't either.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so when you have when you have him coming in, like, and technically he's not even a superhero, he's an anti-hero, so he's more in the lane of like a Deadpool. You know what I'm saying?
He's killing people. He's rated R.
Yeah, like he's not necessarily a hero and he ain't necessarily a villain. But like, and that's what I'm saying. Like to see his character on Spider-Man, like doing the guest appearance on Spider-Man for whatever the little 3 or 4 episodes he was in there for, and then to eventually see him to being brought to the big screen. Because I don't even think Spider-Man had came out yet.
I don't think so, not yet.
I think Spider-Man came out like in the 2000s.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So to see that, I thought that was super interesting. And for them to go around with a black character and for him to do as well as he did was super interesting as well. Because they could have picked anybody at that point. They could have just did one on anybody if they was just doing Blade. Yeah. But I think because he was such a little known character and because of the fact that it was vampires and, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't a lot of CGI that would have had to go into it or anything like that. It was just a dude that just had a whole bunch of weapons and he was just basically being the Black Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and you know what I'm saying, who just had the same powers that they did, and he was able to go out, do that, and then just, you know what I'm saying, and it was a great movie because he's a great actor. And you know what I'm saying, you got Steven Dorff, who's a great actor, Kris Kristofferson, who's a great actor. So, you know what I'm saying, it wasn't like it was a horrible cast on top of that. So you mix all that together and you making it basically a comic book, you know what I'm saying, live action comic book movie, and then you put all that together. I mean, you can't go wrong, because it's not like I said, it's not like the goofy Batman movies that we've seen before, where, you know what I'm saying, like Batman is fighting, but everything all whimsical. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, I felt like, especially when with the Kilmer and Clooney ones, like they had everything from the 60s Batman except for like the POW that popped up on the screen when they was punching.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So to see that, and then, you know what I'm saying, you get a comic book movie like this, which is like raw, you seeing like gunshots, you know what I'm saying, somebody's face getting sliced and they turn into ash and like all that. It was just something new and refreshing, and you know what I'm saying, that was brought into that comic book movie space.
Yeah, and I thought it was dope to come out with a sequel 4 years later, in 2002. But I think that, and this is another thing, we need to put Wesley Snipes in the Black History books, man. Because for a company like Marvel, who was on the brink of bankruptcy in 1996, to say, look, we're going to throw $45 million at this black man lead in 1998-97, because I'm pretty sure they filmed this in like 97. To put $45 million on a character that, like you said, he wasn't well known. A lot of people didn't even know Blade even existed. But I think that what they saw, and we have to shout out these people for even seeing, like, yo, look at what this dude is doing. You know,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, I mean, because those people all travel in the same circle. So they was like, yo, this dude he's either filming or about to film or finishing up this movie that's going to come out with Tommy Lee Jones called U.S. Marshals. He's coming off of, you know, a movie with, what's your man name? White dude, Tears of Sun. What's that motherfucking name? Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Coming off a movie with Sean Connery. He's coming off of, you know, Passenger 57. He's got the movies with Woody Harrelson. Like, to put their to spend $45 million on a black lead.
Yeah.
To save Marvel, like, I just don't think that Blade gets spoke about enough. And I think that what's dope is you are starting to see people say, because I remember when around the time when Endgame was over, like, I started hearing these rumbling of people. Well, really what kind of started the conversation with Blade, well, when I first started hearing it, is when Black Panther came out in 2018. You started hearing people say, yo, because I even said it. Like, everybody was like, oh, he's the first black superhero. And I'm like, no, like, the first one that was mainstream to me was Blade. I like, don't forget about Blade. And I think that people started to put respect on Blade's name when Black Panther first came out. And like you said, he's kind of this anti-hero, but he's also in that lane of Deadpool because it's rated R. Like, it's not like, he's not like Batman who vowed not to kill. Like, he just want to injure people. He don't want to kill the person. Like, no, like, Blade is like trying to eliminate a whole fucking species out here. That he is part of the species. And I'm just like, I mean, even though we had like those black films in the 90s, you know what I'm saying, as far as, you know, Boys in the Hood and the Menace to Societies, the Dead Presidents and all that type of shit. Like, we was getting black films, but we wasn't getting black superhero films.
Oh no, I mean, and like I said, and the ones that we did was
that was making fun of shit.
it
Like,
was goofy.
yeah. Even though Meteor Man is, you know what I'm saying, like
That shit's
you
still
just gotta
goofy, bro.
be it's goofy, but you just gotta be part of the demographic, like to really
Oh
get
no,
it.
for
Like
sure.
I'm
Like
pretty sure
this nigga was this nigga fought a group of kids, bro.
blood.
Yeah, like
Yeah. It is goofy. It's goofy, but also at the same
don't
time,
forget in that movie, like it was in one point where when he was fighting the leader of the Golden Lords, they was voguing. Never forget that. And then Bill Cosby got the meteor and had the powers.
yo,
Shout out to Eddie Griffin too. I forgot Eddie Griffin was in that.
Andrew Griffin was in that, yes,
Mm-hmm.
and Luther Vandross. He was part of the Golden Lord.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
He was real
So
quiet. He ain't say a lot. Sinbad was in that movie. James Earl Jones was in that movie. He had that stupid toupee that he finally took off at the end when he was crying. That shit was hilarious, bro. That shit always makes me laugh. Every time I see that scene, bro, I laugh hard as shit, bro.
yo, what is my man name? That played Meteor Man. Why can't I remember?
Oh, you talking
His
about Robert Townsend?
Robert Townsend. He funded that whole movie.
Oh yeah, for sure. Robert Townsend is a super legend, bro.
Yes, like
Yeah, super
yeah.
legend.
So yeah, man. Like so, I just to think about what Blade meant and for him to finally get his respect,
Mm-hmm.
even though when it came to Blade Trinity, I mean, look, I
Hey,
liked it, but
best Blade movie in the whole series.
it is. But to hear because I hate to hear that they had such a bad working experience because for the simple fact of like for Ryan Reynolds to become like, dude, you know how dope it would be a fucking Deadpool,
And
fucking
Blade,
Blade.
yeah,
Like, come
yeah,
on.
for sure.
Like that would be so dope. But
And
like,
as a matter of fact, I want to say that. Hold on, let me make sure because I think he played. Never mind, he was Hannibal King. I about to say he played. Oh, I'm thinking of the Wolverine movie. But I about to say he played Deadpool in that movie, but he was Hannibal King. Never mind.
yeah, man, and you hear about like it got to the point where like they had gotten to like a physical altercation, like to the point where they could not do scenes together because he said that you know that Ryan was joking all the time, like made everything a joke and all this type of
Yeah,
shit, and it's just like
but
that's
see, that's what
Ryan
I'm
though.
saying. Like
Like
that's what I'm saying. Like at that time, like you could. I think at that time, like he got way too serious with. You know what I'm
with
saying?
Blade,
Like
yeah,
know who he was because like to me, that's one of those things where you can have fun. And I know, like, in his character, it's supposed to be that way.
yeah.
But, like, for me, bro, I don't know how you could ever keep a straight face with that nigga Ryan Reynolds on set in that movie, bro. She said, "Where's the beacon?" He said, "It's in my right ass cheek, right under the Hello Kitty tattoo." Bro, I was fucking crying when I heard that, bro.
No, the part that get me is when he was chained up and old girl came up on him. He was like, "I just farted, silent but deadly." This
Bro,
fucking stupid. But
it's
yeah,
crazy.
I hate that they had a bad relationship, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just felt like they could have done like I think that they would be like the perfect pair, dude. For if the, but even though okay, so you said it earlier, we'll go ahead and jump into it now. You was gonna ask me about how I felt about Mahershala Ali being the new Blade. And
Yeah.
I
Before you get into that though, I just
okay.
want to let people know, right, just how important Blade was to the Marvel world. So when Blade came out, right, um, he enabled them to come out with Daredevil and Elektra.
Yeah,
Now,
from that 151 million that they made.
listen, two of the worst superhero movies of all time.
Whoa. Hold on, wait a minute.
I'm listening.
Elektra in that suit though.
No, for sure. But
I ain't mad at that. But okay, good. And Daredevil is what introduced me into Evanescence because they used 2 Evanescence songs in that movie, and that's how I even heard about them, and that's how I became hip to Evanescence. So I gotta credit Daredevil with that, and I ain't mad at Jennifer Garner in the Electra suit. But go ahead, continue.
no, for sure. I'm saying, right, like, okay, so
The
this is
plots
the
were
thing.
trash.
Yeah, shit was horrible. But this is the thing, right? So what people don't understand is before this, right, you had movies like Blade was the one that set shit off. But people forget about the Fantastic Four movies that were supposed to come out that never did, right? People forgot about, you know what I'm saying, Howard the Duck, which is also a Marvel movie that people totally forget about. You know what I'm saying? Like, so those are the comic book movies that you was getting, like, you know what I'm saying, or you were supposed to be getting around that time. With Blade 2, right? You get Spider-Man, you get Spider-Man, you get X-Men, then you also get Daredevil, you get Elektra, right? You get the Hulk, you get Punisher. Don't forget about the Punisher.
Yeah, I like the one with Thomas Kane.
Yep. You get the Fantastic Four. You know what I'm saying? Like all those come out. Ghost Rider. You get the Fantastic Four with the Silver Surfer. And then in 2008, the MCU was born with the Incredible Hulk. So I was right. It was the Incredible Hulk, not Iron Man. Iron Man came after. But this is, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So, like, with this, you're able to, like, you're able to create this whole world of possibilities by being able to try things out. Like, Daredevil was a horrible movie, for real. Like, Colin Farrell as Bullseye, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Michael Clark Duncan is Kingpin. Get him out of here.
Yeah, he killed somebody with a goddamn paper clip. Man.
Yeah. No, but like that's what I'm saying. Like that's how good he was with throwing shit. Like that's how accurate.
I get it. I get it. But like, you know,
it is also a paperclip though. Like yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, but that's what I'm saying. Like being able to create those movies, like Fantastic Four, bro, that was like a cheese. To me, that was cheesy. That was just as cheesy as the first 3 Spider-Man. I keep saying Superman. As the first 3 Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire. Like it kept having that like childish kid feel to it. And even though it's a comic book movie, it's like, bro, like this ain't like if you take it off of this and like add something else to it, it could be something greater. So then you get, you know what I'm saying, what we've had in the MCU, and now I think people are actually starting to see like when you take certain things from movies and add them into you know what I'm saying, the foundation of these movies, like you actually get great movies. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited to see what we got going on. But Mahershala Ali, man, that's pretty much what we was gonna end off at. How do you feel about that move?
I'm in the middle. The reason I'm in the middle is simply because of Mahershala Ali's age. I love the call for the simple fact I think Mahershala is a phenomenal actor. I think that he is definitely on a run with a lot of the things that he's doing. But I just felt that they should have went a little younger. Because I think that Mahershala maybe can get 2 Blade movies off, possibly. But then I think it's to a point where like he's gonna eventually really age out. But at the same time, it's kind of a perfect move because Wesley was, if I'm not mistaken, 36 when he did Blade. So Mahershala Ali is, probably mid 40s. So it really kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So it really probably only have to be that way, to be honest. Now that I think about it, it kind of really have to be that way because I think that Blade is just one of those characters, even though he is aging like a human, but slower. Like he's aging like a human, but slower. Like if he's 36 playing Blade, he's probably like, and I'll ask her out like 30 or some shit.
Nah, he's younger.
You don't think so?
Younger than that.
Well, I was gonna say 26, but
yeah, he probably around like 28, 29. You know what I'm saying? Or supposed to be 28, 29.
Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I like the movie. It makes sense, but I think that I'm just being selfish of like, yo, I want to be able to watch a Blade movie, a new Blade movie in 2032. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think that Mahershala Ali will be able to do that in 2032 because he'll be, you know what I'm saying, in his mid 50s.
I think that with the way things could possibly work out, right? I don't think that's something that we would have to worry about. So, like, if this comes off as, you know what I'm saying, one of those movies that's actually good, we may get another one just cause, right? So, like, to me, with Black Panther, a lot of people were saying, well, with Black Panther 2, how was they going to do that? Well, they brought up basically the world of Wakanda. Like, they basically was going to get into Wakanda in the second one. Now, I don't know if they still going with that, but like a lot of people were saying, like that was the new, you know what I'm saying, like that now that was a new thing, but it was always going to be that from the get-go. So the interesting thing is basically where they was going to take it since, you know what I'm saying, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman passed. I want to see, you know what I'm saying, like this, to me, this is one of those opportunities where you can do something super dope by making, you know what I'm saying, Shuri take the mantle of Black Panther because, you know, that's what, you know what I'm saying, like now we know that since, you know what I'm saying, if you know anything about the comic books, it was a small point in time to where she was the Black Panther, you know what I'm saying, because T'Challa had to take a hiatus. So, I don't know, man, I think that this is one of those times to where they can get super creative, especially with Blade, because it's not a lot that people know about that character. And this is one of those times to where you can pretty much have like free reign. And I think this is the genius of them bringing in and making the movies and introducing the characters that they're introducing, because a lot of people don't really know about the characters that they introduce. Like a lot of people didn't know about the Eternals. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, well, if you was like really in the comics, you knew about Ant-Man, which I understood why it pissed some people off with Henry. Not Henry. What's the dude's name? Paul Rudd. Yeah, with Paul Rudd being the Scott dude, because Hank Pym is supposed to be Ant-Man. But you know what I'm saying? They still found a way to put Hank Pym in there. They just made him older, which, you know what I'm saying, it makes sense. But you know what I'm saying? Like even if you look at it with the Ultron thing, so like they made Tony Stark and Bruce Banner create Ultron when in all actuality Hank Pym was the reason Ultron was created. You know what I'm saying? Like, so they was taking different stuff and mixing it up. But that's also the beauty of doing, you know what I'm saying, comic book movies, is because you can kind of do your own storyline and mix and match certain things as long as it kind of stays like, you know what I'm saying, true to the foundation. But with Blade, it's not a lot that people know about, you know what I'm saying, his character. And so this is one of those things that, you know what I'm saying, you can kind of play with, you can kind of add to, you can kind of, you know what I'm saying, make, you know what I'm saying, like you can just kind of do a little bit of everything into it. But I'm excited to see Mahershala Ali play this role. He's He's a great actor. I think he did great as Cottonmouth in Luke Cage. And who knows, man? You know what I'm saying? We might see some other characters pop up, you know what I'm saying, with this whole Blade joint. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Black Knight. This is the opportunity for us to see Black Knight. If you watched Eternals, you've seen at the end that, you know what I'm saying, the dude was talking to the sword, or the sword was talking to him, and he was about to grab the sword, and you heard a voice come out from behind him. And who else could it be but, you know what I'm saying, Mahershala Ali? So we'll see, man. We will definitely see.
Before we get to Fire Flames, so I saw something the other day. You know, I follow a lot of Marvel shit, where they said that Wolverine could make an appearance in the Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah.
I ain't got no research. I ain't see. Look, this is just S. Foster here. I just got this feeling because Hugh Jackman already said he's done, and they said that he wasn't going to be the person depicting the Wolverine. Why do I got this feeling it's going to be Scott Eastwood, man? Like I just got this feeling.
I can see that.
Like,
they kind of resemble. I can see that.
Yeah, and then, like, I mean, first of all, I mean the last name, but then just to see the shit that he's in, like, you know, he done jumped into the Fast and the Furious shit. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I don't know, man. I just got this feeling. Look, I haven't seen any research on this or anything. I just saw that Hugh Jackman said he's not going to be in it, and that Wolverine was going to make an appearance. Well, could make an appearance in the new Doctor Strange movie, because, you know, it got that multi-universe thing in it. You know,
well, this is the only thing, right? I don't want to see the X-Men United X2 Wolverine, where he just got the hairdo and the black suit. I don't want to see that. I want to see Wolverine in the costume. This is the thing. We've never seen Wolverine in any Wolverine movie have the Wolverine costume.
Yeah, he just had the sideburns and the hair, kind of like it.
That's what I'm saying. So we've never seen him in the full costume. If they're gonna do it, put him in the full costume, please.
Now they put him in one, but it was more of like a United uniform, like everybody uniforms.
Where they had the all black on.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So we ain't even seen Storm in her real costume. We ain't seen Rogue in her real costume. We ain't seen. We've seen Beast, but yeah, we ain't seen Cyclops. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's so, like I said, it's so many opportunities that we have for them to you know what I'm saying, like, especially with this Doctor Strange joint, because what I was interested in seeing was the fact that they kept doing the whole Wanda thing. Well, Wanda and her brother Peter are the son and daughter of Magneto. But in the MCU, they just, you know what I'm saying, kids who ended up basically being used on as experiments after, you know what I'm saying, some war or some disaster that hit their country, which I didn't like that, because that was, to me, a great way to introduce mutants into the MCU now that they got them, especially with well, okay, real quick, because I just thought about this. What if, right, they took, since, you know what I'm saying, now that they got control of Sony, they could bring in the mutants. What if they bring Magneto in eventually, but when they do the Scarlet Witch thing, all her real memories come back, and her thinking that she was a part of this family during this war that happened in her country was just all a lie. And then she finds out, you know what I'm saying, she's the real daughter of Magneto, blah, blah, blah. Like, to me, like, that'd be super dope. Cause like in this new I was about to say Stephen Strange. In this new Doctor Strange movie, like, she's supposed to be the villain.
Yeah.
So
because she's still pissed. Well, she lost her memory.
Well, no, it's not that. It's the fact that she turns into the Scarlet Witch. And at first, the Scarlet Witch is not a hero. The Scarlet Witch is a villain.
Yeah.
So they have to, find a way to turn her around. So I think, that's going to be interesting seeing what that, basically does, how they, roll that out and everything else. And that's actually coming out soon too. So it's going to be a good one, man.
Yeah, definitely.
On to the Fire Flames, man.
Yes, sir.
Yoga Fire, Yoga Flame.
All right, man. What you giving this thing?
For what it means, and look, it's a very entertaining movie, and for it to get to 3, this is the thing. Like I wanna give it a 4.5 for the simple fact that, like you said, I like Trinity better too. Like Trinity was the one for me, but at the same time, for what this movie meant, and for Marvel to put like all of their financial movies towards this to start, like for this to be the movie to start the MCU, like you have to give it a 5 for what it means to that whole culture of the whole Marvel universe and all that stuff that's put together. So, like you mentioned, the casting was great, man. Using Wesley Snipes, Kris Kristofferson, what he did to it. My man that played Deacon Frost. So all around, it was a really good one. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 5, but it's mainly because of what it was able to do with the second one and the third one, and for it to get to the point where they start the whole. Because like you said, like what you said, what was the one to come? It wasn't Fantastic Four. Daredevil and Electra.
Yeah, Daredevil and Electra.
For it to basically fund those movies, for them to even get this whole thing going.
I mean, it was Fantastic Four too. You're right. It was Fantastic Four,
like,
Daredevil, Punisher, Electra,
yeah,
Iron Man, and the Hulk.
Like you have, like, I mean, I'm not saying you have to, but you got to put respect on Blade's name. So I'm gonna give it a 5.
I mean, I agree with you, man. I 100% agree with you. I'm gonna give it a 5 too because of what it did, and not even that, but just the impact that it had. It was a comic book movie that basically became a phenomenon in a sort of way because like Blade was one of those movies that people love to see, and like to this day, if Blade comes on TV, like nobody's skipping that. Nobody's gonna not watch Blade if it's what I'm saying on TV. But I think it did a great job for what it was. And then on top of that, like it helped Wesley boost his career back up. You know what I'm saying? He got back in the movies after this one. It borderline kind of saved his career. You know what I'm saying? Because this was after he did Tu Wong Fu, and you know what I'm saying? He started getting in like all these other movies, and then like getting in the Blade was, you know what I'm saying? It turned him back into that, you know what I'm saying, that actor that we're used to seeing. So you know what I'm saying, you see him doing that. I mean, Kris Kristofferson, his resume speaks for itself. So it's not like, you know what I'm saying, that was anything of a shocker. But it's, for me, man, it's just the impact that this movie had that it kind of transcends everything else. Because for a movie like this, and then to make it basically make it a trilogy, and for that trilogy to end up saving the company, and then the company ends up turning into something as grand as the MCU, I mean, you got to give it nothing but you know what I'm saying, nothing but flowers and kudos. So, yeah, definitely a 5. Ooh, excuse me. So, coming soon, man.
Coming soon. Coming soon.
All right, so we back, episode 3 of Snowfall.
Listen, I know you don't do it no more, so let me go ahead and jump in here.
Do you think?
So you don't watch the trailers anymore.
I try not to.
So Scully's back. All right, Scully's here. He's here to stay, and Scully is on a whole motherfucking level. Yo, Scully's on a whole new level, dude. Like, you thought Scully was crazy the first time around.
I'm sure.
He's even more crazy. And I was right. They mentioned the Arkansas shit in the coming soon joint. And they also show Franklin having a conversation with Louis about, yo, you need to cut that shit off because we need to focus on what's going on here. So Franklin is not really feeling this whole. I think because my prediction is I think that this is going to be centered around Louis and Jerome and Scully.
Mm-hmm.
I think obviously Franklin's going to be around, but like I don't think he's going to be the focus for episode. I don't know if it's episode 3 or if this is just what to come, but I think it's for episode 3. I think it's going to be centered around those 3 characters and Franklin trying to get Louis and them to get rid of this whole other thing. So yeah, man, it's going to be exciting, man. I'm excited for this episode, man.
Well, also not even that. Like, we also got to think too. You know what I'm saying? Rob is gone. So Rob ain't there no more. So could Scully be the new, you know what I'm saying? The new station?
Could be. I mean, because I think that the loss of we ain't gonna sit here and act like Scully was not Scully, but Man-Boy wasn't a bit lost for the business.
Oh yeah, it was. It 100% was.
Man-Boy made them money.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's why. I mean, I think to be honest with you, as far as like drug money wise, I think that he's not making his top potential because Man-Boy is not there anymore. And the fact that Louis and Jerome are doing their own thing, they're making their own money in Arkansas.
Well, now you also got to remember too, like they mentioned, like now they not just the ones getting drugs in, like everybody.
Yeah, because now it's a free fall now. 1986,
it's a free market at this point. So yeah. I don't know, man. I'm excited to see what goes down. I'm excited to see what transpires. But just know, you know what I'm saying, we'll have that episode for you next, episode 3, season 5. And yeah, we'll be at it, man. So if you got anything you want to say about Blade, if you got anything you want to talk about as far as Snowfall or any other episodes we've had beforehand, make sure to hit us up on any of our social medias. You can hit us up on Instagram and Twitter at ViewerNonPod, or you can hit us up on Facebook at VA Pod Watch Group. You know what I'm saying? Send us something, let us know. Also, you can leave a review. You can rate us on any of the podcast apps that you're listening to. And as far as me, you can check me out at Scoots Bronson. Also, man, check me out on TikTok at Scoots Bronson TV.
Yes, sir, man. Y'all can find me at s.foster8 on IG and Twitter, at 28 minutes or less pod on IG as well. Still rocking with the same episode. I got something cooking up, so be on the lookout when it comes to 28 minutes or less. But go check out episode 75 that I did with my cousin, Brandon Foster. We did Fat Tuesday. So it's on all major platforms, so go check that out.
For sure, man. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's always greatly appreciated. We can never have enough support. And like they say in Hollywood, that's a wrap.
Cut.